Official Galactic Council Report. Urgent Classification Status Subject. Sol 3. Local Designation. Earth. Filed by Senior Classification Officer Zarnath, 582 Standard Cycle, 7249.3. Look, I can already guess what you're thinking. Another routine planet classification report. Well, you're wrong. This one's different, and I'm begging someone to read it before I completely lose my sanity. After 300 cycles in this job, I've never encountered anything like this before. Earth should have been a standard death world classification. You know the drill: hostile environment, extreme weather, dangerous fauna, the usual. But no, this is something else. Let me back up. I arrived on Earth last week to conduct the usual classification procedure. The preliminary scans? Straight out of the Death World Handbook: corrosive atmosphere, fluctuating temperatures ranging from -50 degrees Celsius to +50 degrees C in the same regions, active tectonics, a crust that's a literal puzzle in a paint shaker. My initial recommendation was going to be simple: Death World, avoid contact. And then it would have been back to the office for lunch. But then I noticed something odd. At first I thought my sensors were malfunctioning, but the readings were clear. Someone had artificially enhanced the natural hazards. I mean, who does that? Who looks at a volcano and says, you know, this could use more magma channels? So, naturally, I double-checked the data, then triple-checked it. And then, after a small existential crisis in my ship's comfort pod, I realized the unthinkable. The humans weren't just surviving their death world. They were actively making it worse. On purpose. Let me explain. These humans, and I use that term loosely, have developed something they call extreme sports, where they actively seek out the most dangerous environments and try to make them even more hazardous. They build settlements near volcanoes and then add geothermal features for extra spice. I even intercepted some of their communication channels. They have entire networks dedicated to showcasing this madness. One human, Tyler Hayes, runs a popular stream called Spicing Up Mother Earth. In yesterday's episode, he was installing plasma vents along a fault line because, and I quote, regular earthquakes were getting too predictable. The truly disturbing part? He has millions of followers who leave comments like, "Sick mod, bro," and "Can't wait to try this in my backyard." I've attached recordings for you to see, but I must warn you, they're unsettling. One of them shows humans modifying a hurricane by seeding it with electrical charges, because once again, they wanted proper boss fight mechanics. My preliminary analysis suggests that humans have developed this reckless behavior as a species-wide coping mechanism. They've turned survival into a competitive sport, complete with leaderboards for who can survive the most dangerous situations, which, again, they created. Urgent recommendation: we need a new classification for this planet. Death World simply doesn't cut it. We're dealing with a species that looks at a world that could kill them in 1,000 ways and says, let's add more but make it cool. Additional note: since I wrote this report, I've learned that humans are now working on something called Earth 2.0, Nightmare Difficulty. I've attached my resignation letter in case things take a turn for the worse. Final classification recommendation: Hell World, artificially enhanced. Approach with extreme caution. Postscript: the humans somehow found my contact information and have been sending me invitations to something called the Annual Extreme Terraforming Championship. Please send help. Respectfully panicking. Zarnath 582 Senior Classification Officer, Galactic Planetary Survey Division, P.S. Tyler Hayes. Just let me know that this report has been trending on human communication networks. They're using it as a checklist for future upgrades. I need a drink. Supplementary report. Earth Qualification Analysis. Filed by Senior Classification Officer Zarnath 582. Attached documentation. Mentation. Historical Assessment Standard Cycle 7249.3. After my initial report caused quite a stir in the council, yes, I've seen the memes you're all sharing about my emotional state. Now I've been asked to provide a more detailed analysis of why Earth qualified for Death World status before the humans started enhancing it. Let's start with the basics. First, the atmosphere. Most Death Worlds have 1 or 2 lethal gases. Earth has oxygen, that highly reactive substance that pretty much makes everything explode. and somehow these humans evolved to not only tolerate it, but actually need it to survive. They literally need explosive gas to live. Then there's the weather. Most planets have predictable weather patterns. Earth? Earth has weather warfare. In a single rotation, one region can experience freezing temperatures, scorching heat, frozen precipitation, liquid water from the sky, and, just for fun, balls of ice large enough to cause concussions. Oh, and let's not forget the storms, which can flatten entire cities. Normal planets have wind. Earth has tornadoes, which are basically giant, angry sky tubes that toss buildings around like they're paper. The planet's geology is equally delightful. The surface is broken into enormous chunks that are constantly moving and crashing into each other. Imagine a puzzle where all the pieces are trying to murder each other. Sometimes these collisions create mountains. Other times they create spicy mountains that shoot molten rock into the air. Humans call these volcanoes and have historically decided they make excellent places to build cities. Now, let's talk about water. Earth has way too much of it. Most of the planet is covered by vast bodies of salt water deep enough to hide entire mountain ranges. These waters are full of creatures that seem like they were designed specifically to star in horror stories. There's a fish that looks like a living boulder and can crush submarines, an eel that generates electricity, and multiple species of sharks that have remained virtually unchanged since the time of the dinosaurs because they were already perfect killing machines. Ah, yes, the dinosaurs. We should discuss them, because they offer insight into a lot of what's wrong with human psychology. Earth's past and present monsters. Earth once hosted even more terrifying creatures than the ones still around today. I'm talking about beasts so dreadful that even their fossilized remains are enough to send our xenobiologists into therapy sessions. And what do the humans do when they find these fossils? They don't just tuck them away for study. They build enormous museums to put them on display, and then turn the idea of bringing these monsters back to life into a form of entertainment. But the real nightmare? The wildlife that's still alive. They've got spiders whose bites can kill you, snakes venomous enough to poison an entire moon, and bears that act like death is some personal challenge they just won't accept. And then there's the platypus. This little mammal that looks like it was cobbled together from leftover parts and turned into a walking weapon. Now let's talk about Tyler Hayes. He's the self-proclaimed extreme environment engineer, and the man who, in his own twisted way, made me realize just how messed up our assumptions about survival instincts were. I managed to schedule an interview with him to chat about Earth's natural dangers. His reaction? He laughed. Actually laughed. Then he said, and I recorded this because no one would believe me otherwise. Oh man, you think the natural stuff is wild? Wait till you hear this. We're working on this new project where we're breeding plants to be more aggressive. You know those carnivorous plants? We've been splicing them with fast-growing bamboo. We're calling them land krakens. Still working out some containment issues, but the test footage is sick. When I pointed out how reckless that sounded, he showed me the funding page for the project. They've raised enough money to expand into 3 new research facilities. Yes, you read that right. Humans are actively crowdfunding their own extinction. But it gets even crazier. I stumbled upon something called outdoor survival challenges, where humans deliberately put themselves in the most dangerous conditions their planet has to offer, equipped with little more than the bare essentials, just to see if they can make it out alive. They film their survival attempts and share them on entertainment channels. The more likely a participant is to die, the more viewers they get. In conclusion, Earth was already a death world by every conceivable standard. The fact that humans somehow evolved in such a place is alarming enough, but the fact that they're actively making their planet more hazardous because their lethal hellscape is too easy is a sign that we may need to create an entirely new classification system for Earth. Additional note: during my investigation, Dr. Megan Caldwell from the Extreme Terraforming Initiative reached out to see if I'd be interested in their plans for weaponized continental drift. I declined and have since entered mandatory counseling. Respectfully updating my will, Zarnath 582 Senior Classification Officer, Galactic Planetary Survey Division, P.S. Tyler Hayes, just let me know that this report has been trending on human communication networks. They're using it as a checklist for future upgrades. I need a drink. Field Investigation Report. Human Environmental Modifications. Primary Investigator, Zarnath 582. Assistant Investigator, Draknar Standard Cycle, 7,249.3 Day 1 of Investigation, marks the official start of our investigation into human environmental modifications. My junior investigator, Draknar, was eager at first, but after hearing about the humans' activities, they just looked a little green around the gills. Our first stop was the headquarters of the Extreme Terraforming Initiative, where we met Dr. Megan Caldwell, the Chief of Environmental Enhancement. She greeted us wearing what looked like battle armor, covered in scorch marks. When we asked about it, she casually explained, "Oh, this just came back from testing our new volcanic sprouting system. Would you like to see the footage?" Before we could refuse, she showed us, and Draknar fainted. After reviving my assistant, Dr. Caldwell took us on a tour of their ongoing projects. The first stop was their Weather Modification Division, where they proudly demonstrated something called hurricane harmonics, a system for combining multiple hurricanes into what they call boss formations. Right next to that was the Thunderdome, a climate control technology that generates constant lightning storms for ambience. And let's not forget their tornado tubes, artificial tornado generators, complete with, as they insisted, sick RGB lighting effects. In the geological enhancement section, we were shown their tectonic turbochargers for speeding up continental drift. Dr. Caldwell was particularly excited about their magma manifestors, an underground magma redirection system designed for spontaneous volcano creation. Then, there was the Geyser Gauntlet, a pressurized geothermal eruption network made for parkour challenges, which made Draknar turn an alarming shade of green. In the biological engineering department, beyond the infamous Landkraken project, they've developed something they call Kudu 2.0, enhanced vegetation with active hunting capabilities. Their mushroom kingdom features fungal networks with rudimentary intelligence and territorial instincts. When I asked Dr. Caldwell why they were developing these systems, she gave me the look you give someone who just asked why water is wet. For the challenge, obviously. Earth's base difficulty was getting too easy. We needed to spice things up. Day 2 of investigation. I met with Tyler Hayes at what he calls the tutorial zone, a relatively tame area used for training newcomers. He casually explained their ranking system while dodging attacks from a prototype Landkraken. See, we've got different difficulty levels. Basic zones for beginners, challenge zones for intermediates, and nightmare zones for the pros. We're working on a new ultimate tier, but we keep losing test subjects. I mean, volunteers. The tutorial zone features scheduled volcanic eruptions, artificial quicksand pits with adjustable difficulty, and carnivorous plant gardens that have leaderboards. There's also something called parkour paradise, which makes me deeply uncomfortable. Elle has already requested a transfer. Day 3 of investigation. Today, we saw their environmental enhancement process in action. Dr. P invited us to observe a minor upgrade to the Australian continent. The process involved releasing enhanced versions of already lethal wildlife, installing weather modification systems across the outback, adding what they called spicy terrain features, and programming random event generators to maximize entertainment value. Day 4 of investigation. I discovered their planning committee for future updates. They're transforming the Pacific Ring of Fire into a full-fledged endgame zone, adding dynamic difficulty adjustments to all major mountain ranges, and installing challenge generators in every major city. Oh, and there's something called Project Kaiju, but I'm legally prohibited from discussing it. Day 5 of investigation. I uncovered evidence of an underground betting ring focused on survival challenges. Humans are now wagering resources on who can survive the most enhanced environments. The current champion, a grandmother from Finland who, by all accounts, found the Landkraken charming and decided to adopt it. Draknar has resigned and joined a monastery. Can't say I blame them. Dr. Caldwell has also offered me a position as an alien perspective consultant for their next project. I declined, but she winked and said, "We'll keep your spot open." Tyler Hayes continues to stream his enhancement tours. His latest video, surfing magma waves while dodging Landkrakens, gone wrong, gone deadly, gone awesome, has already racked up 50 million views. In conclusion, the humans aren't just surviving their death world anymore. They've turned it into a competition to see who can survive the most ridiculously dangerous version of it. They've transformed planetary hazards into a sport, complete with rankings, championships, and merchandising. Still professionally documenting, but internally screaming. Zarnath 582 PS Dr. Caldwell just sent me preview access to their Earth 2.0 patch notes. I'm going to need more therapy. Emergency Galactic Council session. Earth 2.0 announcement. Transcribed by Zarnath 582, under protest. Standard cycle. 7,249.3. The Grand Council chamber was almost unnervingly quiet as President Dwayne Carter called the emergency session to order. Well, mostly quiet. You could still hear my nervous whimpers coming from the witness podium. This emergency session is called to order, President Dwayne Carter announced, his voice steady. The topic is the recently announced Earth 2.0 initiative. Senior Classification Officer Zarnath 582, please present your findings. I tried to hide behind my datapad. Do I have to? Yes, very well, he replied. I cleared my throat, or whatever it is that passes for a throat in my species. Yesterday, the Extreme Terraforming Initiative held what they called a gameplay reveal live stream for Earth 2.0. I activated the holographic recording, and Tyler Hayes' overenthusiastic face filled the chamber. What's up, gamers? Ready for the biggest update in Earth's history? Tyler's voice practically radiated excitement. Dr. Megan Caldwell appeared beside him, wearing what looked like experimental battle armor. We've heard your feedback about Earth being too predictable, too easy, and frankly not lethal enough. Well, get ready for Earth 2.0, nightmare difficulty. Several council members gasped. One of them fainted. I envied them. First up, Tyler continued, practically bouncing with excitement, dynamic death zones. Every region will now feature randomly generating hazards. You thought Australia was fun? Wait till you see what happens when we apply that principle globally. Dr. Caldwell beamed at the camera. We're calling it the Everything is Australia Now update. Councillor Vrock's voice quivered. They can't be serious. Oh, it gets better, I said, though I wasn't sure if better was even the right word anymore. The presentation moved on, with Dr. Caldwell explaining their new boss battle system. We've upgraded various natural phenomena to include multiple phases. Hurricanes will now evolve as they travel, tornadoes can merge to form raid bosses, and volcanoes. Let's just say Pompeii was basically a tutorial level. Plus, Tyler chimed in, we've added RGB lighting to everything, even the earthquakes. What's RGB lighting? Asked Councillor Nurk. Purely aesthetic, I explained. They're making their disasters pretty as well as lethal. Dr. Caldwell continued with growing enthusiasm. But the feature we're most excited about is our new ecosystem overhaul. Remember our Land Kraken project? We're taking that concept global. Every biome is getting new apex predators engineered from existing species. We call it evolutionary acceleration. Wait until you see what we did with the squirrels. Tyler added with a grin, oh, you'll love it. Squirrels with tools. It's going to be legendary. The council chamber erupted into worried murmurs. I felt compelled to clarify for context. They've apparently given squirrels limited tool use and pack hunting behavior. They're calling it a minor upgrade. President Dwayne Carter looked deeply troubled. Surely their governing bodies won't allow this. They're funding it, I replied flatly. Apparently, it falls under something called extreme tourism development. The presentation concluded with Dr. Caldwell gleefully explaining their most terrifying announcement yet. We're introducing challenge zones, entire continents dedicated to maximum difficulty survival scenarios. Think Australia, but cranked up to 11. Tyler followed up. And we've got a brand new achievement system. Want to be the first human to surf a magma wave while fighting off neo-piranhas? Now you can earn points for it. As the recording ended, President Dwayne Carter asked the question we were all dreading. How many humans have signed up for this? Current pre-orders are in the millions, I reported, my voice low. They've had to add extra servers, their words, not mine, to handle the demand. But what's their motivation? Councillor Vrock asked. Why make their already dangerous world even more lethal? According to my research, they're bored, I replied. Apparently, once humans master surviving one type of lethal environment, they seek out greater challenges. It's like an addiction to danger. That's when the chamber doors burst open. Dr. Caldwell and Tyler Hayes strolled in, wearing matching extreme survival gear. "Oh good, you're all here," Dr. Caldwell said cheerfully. "We were hoping to pitch our multiplayer expansion pack." Tyler nodded enthusiastically. "Yeah, we're thinking interspecies survival championships. Imagine the viewing numbers." Mass panic ensued. President Dwayne Carter attempted to maintain order. "This session is temporarily suspended while we, assess these proposals." "While we're thinking about it," Dr. Caldwell said, pulling out a tablet. "Want to see our plans for the ocean biomes? We're calling it Deep Blue Death." I tried to hide under my desk. "Request for immediate transfer to the Void Sector." Day 6 of investigation. You know, I hear the Void Sector is lovely this time of year, but apparently Dr. Caldwell and Tyler Hayes have big plans for it too. "Imagine extreme space parkour," Tyler called out, practically glowing with excitement. Before I could even process the idea, the Council voted to establish a new planetary classification just for Earth. It is now officially designated as Era 404, Safety Not Found. In a move that could only be described as somehow inevitable, Dr. Caldwell has managed to obtain the Council's contact information, and now she's sending everyone beta test invitations. I quit, seriously. This time I mean it. Zarnath 582 PS. The squirrels have now developed space travel. They're calling it extreme orbital parkour. The humans are ridiculously proud of them. PS. That black hole that learned to play fetch? It's now competing in agility tournaments. The prizes keep disappearing into its event horizon, but nobody has the heart to disqualify it. Remember when I used to be terrified of all this? Now I'm teaching a masterclass in bureaucratic survival, Extreme Edition. We file papers while doing backflips through lava. The waiting list is 2 years long, and I desperately need a vacation. Maybe somewhere nice and relaxing, like that new antimatter beach resort on Mercury. Final status report. Subject interspecies survival championships filed by Zarnath. 582 Senior Survival Sports Coordinator, formerly Senior Classification Officer, Standard Cycle, 7249.4. Do you remember when I used to write reports about how dangerous Earth was? Those were the simpler days. Now I'm writing promotional materials for what has become the galaxy's most popular extreme sport. Yes, this is my life now. No, I'm not okay with it. But hey, the health insurance is fantastic. It's been 3 months since our failed intervention, and I feel an obligation to update the Council on how spectacularly out of hand things have gotten. Though given that half of them are now professional streamers, this might be redundant. The first annual multi-species survival championships just wrapped up, and the statistics are, well, frankly terrifying. We had participants from over 500 different species representing 47 galactic federations. The viewing numbers shattered several mathematical principles. The merchandising revenue alone could purchase an entire solar system. Dr. Caldwell and Tyler Hayes? They've officially ascended to the ranks of celebrity game designers. Their latest update, Apocalypse Plus Plus, has introduced features that make me long for the good old days of simply running from enhanced wildlife. Now we have competitive disaster racing. Participants are surfing pyroclastic flows while dodging artillery fire from, wait for it, militarized squirrels. Yes, the squirrels. They've hired professional agents and are currently negotiating their appearance fees. Meanwhile, extreme ecosystem engineering teams are in full swing, competing to create the most challenging yet survivable biomes. Last week's winning entry? It combined the properties of black holes with puppet shows. I swear I'm still in therapy over it. Boss rush mode. Yes, remember that grandmother from Finland? She's now running master classes in something called kaiju psychology. Her land-kraken obedient school now has a 3-year waiting list. The truly concerning part? Other planets are beginning to replicate Earth's madness. Mars has already been converted into a dedicated PvP arena. Venus is being terraformed into an endgame zone. And the moon is now a tutorial area, though someone accidentally set its difficulty to nightmare last Tuesday. Our intervention team? We've gone native. Ambassador Wixie, after scoring the first ever perfect score in volcanic parkour while simultaneously trading derivatives, has opened a chain of extreme survival prep schools. Their slogan? Get good or get dead. The humans? They're thrilled. Dr. Caldwell keeps raving about expanding the gameplay loop to include cosmic phenomena. Tyler Hayes' latest stream, titled Teaching a Black Hole to Play Fetch, obliterated every previous viewership record. What's less disturbing than the fact that it actually worked is the fact that the black hole is now demanding treats. Even my own species, traditionally known for our cautious, bureaucratic nature, is getting in on the action. We've launched a department of extreme filing, where clerks compete to process paperwork while dodging randomly spawning environmental hazards. Our efficiency has skyrocketed by 3,000%, though we're going through desks at an alarming rate. The Galactic Council has officially reclassified Earth from Era 404, Safety Not Found, to Tutorial Server, Difficulty Setting, LOL. We've had to create 17 new classification categories just to keep up with the sheer madness of human innovations in the field of making everything spicier. Current survival statistics show that, despite making everything 10 times more dangerous, the actual casualty rate has somehow dropped. Apparently, when you treat death as a game rather than a fear, people get really good at surviving. Who knew? Dr. Caldwell just dropped the bombshell announcement, Universal Expansion Pack, Beyond Sanity. The preview footage. It shows them teaching singularities to dance. Apparently the singularities are quite good at it. The grandmother from Finland? She's reached mythological status. Her latest feat? She tamed a quantum anomaly and taught it to bake cookies. These cookies? They're simultaneously burnt and perfect, and eating them makes you speak in mathematical equations. They're flying off the shelves. As for me, I've come to terms with my new role in this madness. Someone has to keep some semblance of bureaucratic order, even if it means filing reports while skateboarding through antimatter storms. My therapist says I'm making progress, though I suspect they're just saying that because I've earned diamond rank in the Extreme Cognitive Recalibration League. Final note. The humans are now soliciting suggestions for their next major project. The current frontrunner? Make the simulation we're living in more interesting by adding mod support. I am not paid enough to unpack that one. Signing off to attend my Advanced Land Kraken Diplomacy class. Zarnath 582 Senior Survival Sports Coordinator, Earth 2.0 Administration PS. The squirrels have now developed space travel. They're calling it Extreme Orbital Parkour. The humans are ridiculously proud of them. PPS. That black hole that learned to play fetch? It's now competing in agility tournaments. The prizes keep disappearing into its event horizon, but nobody has the heart to disqualify it. Remember when I used to be terrified of all this? Now I'm teaching a masterclass in bureaucratic survival, Extreme Edition. We file papers while doing backflips through lava. The waiting list is 2 years long, and I desperately need a vacation. Maybe somewhere nice and relaxing, like that new antimatter beach resort on Mercury.